Alright everybody, today we're back with boxing breakdowns and predictions with the lightweight clash between Devin the Dream Haney and Vasiliy Lomachenko. This is an unbelievable lightweight clash in boxing, of extremely solid fight, and I really don't know which way it's going to go, but I'm going to give you my breakdown and analysis of what I see and how I believe the fight will play out over the 12 rounds if it makes it that long. We did a breakdown with Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis, and although I feel like my analysis of the fight and how it would play out with the strengths and weaknesses of each fighter was spot on, I did get the pick wrong. I picked Ryan Garcia to win by a TKO, or Ryan Garcia just to beat Gervonta Davis. And originally, before I made the video, I wanted to go with Gervonta. When the fight got announced, I thought for sure Gervonta was going to take it, but the more tape I watched, I felt like the length and reach of Garcia could give Tank some trouble, and it did at certain points, but for the most part, it was the Tank show for the majority of the fight, and he ended up getting the victory with that body shot KO off the break inside the clinch. But now we're going to break down Haney versus Lomachenko. Devin the Dream Haney, 28-0 in professional boxing. I was going to say mixed martial arts, but that's not what we're doing today. Going up against Vasiliy Lomachenko, 16 victories and 2 defeats. We've got 16 knockouts out of 28 victories for the Dream, and then on the side of High Tech, 11 KOs out of 16 victories. So for the majority of either guy's wins, whether you're on the side of Haney or Lomachenko, they like to finish the fight. When I look at the fight, obviously you have Southpaw versus Orthodox, as you can see on the screen. When you have Southpaw versus Orthodox, the key to the fights, whether it's kickboxing, whether it's Muay Thai, whether it's MMA, whether it's boxing, the key to Southpaw versus Orthodox is to get the lead foot on the outside of the lead foot of your opponent. The Southpaw wants to get the right foot on the outside of the lead left foot of the Orthodox fighter, which would in this case be Lomachenko, getting his lead foot on the outside of the lead left foot of Devin the Dream Haney. And then for the Orthodox fighter, they want to get their lead left foot on the outside of the lead right foot. That's going to line the target for the power side, which is the rear side, with the straight right from the Orthodox fighter, the straight left from the Southpaw fighter. But I'm sure you guys know that, but it is so important. It's so important, and people are like, oh, well, all everybody talks about is the outside foot positioning. The outside foot positioning is paramount in combat sports. It's paramount in boxing too. What is one thing I said in the breakdown with my Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia breakdown? I said that Ryan Garcia willingly gives up the outside foot positioning and steps to the inside of the lead foot of his opponent because he has such a speed advantage on most of the men he fights. And he did it in the fight against Tank too. He stepped in, constantly was putting his lead foot on the inside of the lead foot of his opponent. And with a cerebral fighter like Gervonta Davis, you're going to give him the angle to step to the outside, land the body shot, step to the outside, land the straight left hand down the middle. The first knockdown he got in Gervonta Davis against Garcia was the straight left hand down the middle as Garcia went to land the left hook. He was able to step to the outside of the left foot of Garcia and bang that straight left hand right down the middle as he got the outside foot and was off on that correct angle. Outside foot positioning. The second knockdown was inside the clinch, but he still was able to get that outside foot and bang the shot off the break right to the body. When I look at Lomachenko versus Devin Haney, I see a big volume advantage on the side of Lomachenko. I see a decent footwork advantage on the side of Lomachenko as well. But Devin Haney has good footwork, but he's so long and rangy, I should say, that the length and reach of Devin Haney is going to give Lomachenko a lot of trouble. He's going to be constantly trying to flick that jab in the face of Lomachenko. Touch, touch, rip, rip. Touch, touch, rip, rip, rip. Touch, touch, rip, rip, rip. That's what the style that Devin Haney is going to have to employ here if he wants to have a lot of success against Lomachenko. It's keeping that jab going, which Haney has always been good at. He's very active with his lead hand. He's active with the jab. He's going to be looking to touch high, touch low, touch the body, touch the head, touch to the head, touch to the body. Feint, throw the left hook up top. Feint, feint, jab to the body, jab up top, feint, left hook to the head. He's going to be looking to set up fakes and feints and always looking to use and employ that lead hand for however long the fight plays out. With Lomachenko, he's going to be looking to do the same thing. But I feel like for Lomachenko, it's going to be more a volume-based attack than it is going to be for Devin Haney. Because we've seen in Devin Haney's career, he's got big power and a lot of speed in the punches that he throws. And he mainly fights out of a bladed side stance, in boxing, he'll kind of be in that side stance a little bit, but he does that because he can employ the shoulder roll and the high guard on the opposite side to be able to fire off with counters if the opponent steps into his range. So if they're able to close the distance and throw big shots, he can shoulder roll on the lead side, high guard on the rear side, come back with the overhand right. Shoulder roll, high guard, come back with the rear uppercut off the counter. That's something we've seen Lomachenko get caught with before in the rear uppercut from his opponents. If you look at the fight against Teofimo Lopez, which coincidentally was the fight that Lomachenko lost, he was getting caught with that uppercut, a step back rear uppercut from Teofimo Lopez. With this fight, I think it could be very similar because Lomachenko is going to be looking to get on the inside. But the thing is, it's going to be harder for Devin Haney to track down a fighter like Lomachenko because he's always using his footwork. He's always circling. He's always moving laterally, moving in and out. His nickname is High Tech. They call him the Matrix as well. Well, his feet are basically the matrix inside the ring. He's going to be looking to step in, step out, step left, step right, switch southpaw, switch orthodox, constantly changing his stances. He loves to use that angle shift, which is where you'll step with your lead foot, you'll kind of L step to the rear side, and then you'll shoot your rear foot to the opposite angle and then step back into your original stance. That's the best way I can break it down without actually showing you examples. So if you're orthodox, you're going to step your lead foot to the rear foot and L step. So you're going to L step and then you're going to step back into the opposite stance. So you L step to get the original angle and then you shoot your hips and explode back into the original stance, which is going to give you the angle on your opponent and allow for you to land big shots off on a parallel stance to the opponent, or perpendicular stance, I should say. You'll be perpendicular to your opponent if they don't readjust, and you're forcing the opponent to readjust to turn back into you to be face to face to be able to land their offense. But the rear side angle against an orthodox fighter, bang bang, you can hit that angle shift and then rip that hook to the body, rip the hook up top to the head, rip the uppercut, and then you force the opponent to turn back into you. What is Lomachenko so good at? I consider his style like a merry-go-round style of footwork because he's constantly turning around the opponent, constantly stepping in, angle shifting, L-stepping, shifting off to the lead side, and he's always going to be looking to employ that footwork and get you to have to either guard up, shell up, and lower your level so he can attack the high guard and manipulate your guard with hooks around the side, uppercuts, manipulating the guard, pulling down the guard, coming over the top, pulling down the guard, coming up the middle, around the side with the hook with the 6-3, come over the top with the 2, or the overhand right. It wouldn't necessarily be a cross. And that's what Lomachenko likes to do. And that angle shift to the rear side, the L step, and the pivot off on the lead side is what allows him to be able to do that. With Devin Haney, he's going to have the length advantage, going to have the reach advantage. Like we said, he's going to want to keep Lomachenko away from him. He has a lot of trouble with the left hook, which is going to be the rear side guard, considering he's an orthodox fighter. When the left hook comes from another orthodox fighter, it's going to be coming to his rear side, so he's going to be blocking, and he has trouble blocking it because of that shoulder roll. Usually you can roll on the lead side, come back with the straight right hand counter. If you're southpaw, shoulder roll with the lead right side, come back with the straight left counter right down the middle, right down the pipe. However, when you shoulder roll, if you don't get that high guard up right away, if the opponent has a speed advantage on you, they can pop you with the 2, boom, and come back with the hook, and you can be shoulder rolling into the hook, and you can get caught on the chin. We saw him get caught on the chin against Jorge Linares. That was the shot that wobbled him and hurt him. In other fights as well, against George Kambosos, against some other fighters, he's been caught with the left hook over and over and over again. Now, orthodox versus orthodox, it's a different style of fight. So now that he's fighting a southpaw, he's going to be having to look for the right hook of Lomachenko. So look for the right hook of Lomachenko instead of the left hook, and he's going to be looking to throw that left hand, bang, get him to guard up, and then throw that right hook as he's trying to get away from it. You're going to see Lomachenko and Haney both trying to use that jab and employ the check hook. For Lomachenko, going to be the check right hook because he's a southpaw to get to the outside angle and step to the outside of the lead left foot of Devin Haney. With Haney, he's going to be looking to jab, throw the left hook, and step to the outside of the lead right foot of Lomachenko, who's the southpaw. By stepping outside of the lead foot, like we touched on in the beginning of the breakdown, you're allowing yourself to get at an angle where your opponent is going to have to readjust, either step back, take a back step, and then shift off and pivot, or they're going to have to take a back step and turn into you. I feel like we're going to see Lomachenko be employing such a heavy volume striking approach, such a heavy clinch game. I feel like we're going to see him push into Devin Haney in the later rounds of the fight. And I do think that Devin Haney is going to give Lomachenko some trouble with his length, with his reach, with the power that he employs. I mean, he has knockout ability, but we've seen Lomachenko has knockout ability as well. However, I feel like with Lomachenko, it's more a death via accumulation, death by volume approach to the sweet science. With Devin Haney, it's more of just picking you apart and finding openings to land his big shots, because everything that Haney throws has a lot of power. There's no real touch, rip, rip, rip. He will, but even the touching shots have power. With Lomachenko, he'll just touch you, bing, 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 touch, bing, 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 touch, bop, bop, touch, bing, 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 bop, bop, bop. He'll be doing that, like he'll be touching you, slipping, stepping off on the angles and allowing himself to find the avenues for the big shots. With Devin Haney, everything that he throws has a lot of speed. Everything that he throws has a lot of power. And if he rips to the body and rips up top to the head against Lomachenko, it can be a big problem for him. However, the volume striking and the activity of Lomachenko paired with the footwork is going to give Devin Haney some trouble. Haney has good footwork as well. Good in and out movement, good back step counters, good ability to get the outside foot like we touched on. But a lot of the success that Haney has comes against fighters who like to move forward in a straight line and move back in a straight line. They are moving on a linear pattern more than moving on a lateral pattern paired with the lineal pattern, and then paired with the ability to shift angles to the lead side and the rear side depending on if you're orthodox or southpaw. I feel like Haney has the best success against fighters who either pressure him so he can backstep and land big counters with his speed and power advantage, or he has success with fighters who he can walk down, but they still move in a linear pattern and don't necessarily move off the center line and use a lot of L steps, use a lot of lateral movement, use a lot of angle shifts and things like that. I think that the footwork is going to give a lot of trouble to Devin Haney. I should say the footwork of high-tech Lomachenko is going to give a lot of trouble to Haney in order for him to set things up. I think the later rounds of this fight, round 8, round 9, round 10, 11, 12, those are all going to be in the favor of Lomachenko, because I feel like his style is built to pick up on patterns and adjust throughout the rounds. Now, Haney can go 12 rounds as well, but he's not used to fighting a fighter who has such a footwork-heavy approach, who uses so many angle shifts, lateral movements, in and out footwork, constantly getting the opponent, getting to the outside of the lead foot with the angle shift, stepping to the outside, using a lot of L steps, making the opponent turn into him. He doesn't have a lot of opponents who make him turn into them. By turning into Lomachenko when he uses that lateral movement, when he gets you to high guard, when he steps around to your rear side, and has you ducking down, he doesn't have a lot of fighters that fight like that. So I don't think Haney is accustomed to being able to adjust and reset off of an opponent who's not going to be on the line when he's looking to land his shots. But the power, the speed, the reach advantage. I mean, 5'9" for Devin Haney, 5'7" for Lomachenko, a 71-inch reach to a 65-inch reach for Lomachenko. It's going to be a 6-inch reach advantage for Devin Haney, paired with a 2-inch height advantage. Like I said, the long-range shots are going to give Lomachenko trouble. The body work, uppercuts to the body, left hooks to the body, 1-2, jab up top, right hand to the body, jab, left hook, right hand to the body, come back with the left hook. If he can keep Lomachenko at a distance and at a range for the majority of this fight, he can pick him apart and potentially get a decision. We saw Lomachenko had trouble in the fight that he lost against Teofimo Lopez with the speed, but it was more the straight punches and then the body shots. If Haney can work to the body, come up top, and also be able to keep that range and distance and keep Lomachenko on the edge of his jab, keep him just outside of his jab, just outside of his cross, and constantly be using that check hook whenever Lomachenko tries to step in, then I think Haney can have a lot of success and potentially look very, very good here. However, with the footwork, the angle shifts, the movement, the ability to land inside the clinch, over the top, up the middle, ripping to the body, switching stances, making the opponent turn into him, I think that the footwork, angles, and movement of Lomachenko, paired with his ability to adjust mid-fight, are going to give Haney a lot of problems. And when I have to, go for a prediction, I think I'm going to side with the underdog here at a plus 205 in Vasiliy high-tech Lomachenko. I know people are looking at the fight against Teofimo Lopez and thinking that, Haney's going to run through him. But the competition level has been, I would say the competition level is pretty neck and neck. And, you could say that Vasiliy has maybe fought the better competition in many people's opinions, but Haney also is going to have 10 more fights in professional boxing than Lomachenko. And even though he has 10 more professional fights, he also has 6 more knockouts. So I think that this is a very close fight, but I do favor the footwork, the movement, and the ability to adjust on the fly, and the constant volume striking of Lomachenko to be a death by volume, a death via accumulation approach, and eventually slow down Haney. Catching him with that rear right hook, or I'm sorry, rear left hook, you know, against the orthodox fighter in Haney. We've seen Haney have trouble with that rear side when he shoulder rolls and tries to counter with a straight, or shoulder rolls, tries to come over the top with the hook. Whenever he shoulder rolls, he has a little bit of trouble getting that guard up on the rear side. I could see Lomachenko touch, rip, and then he's not able to get that rear side up, and he gets caught with that overhand left or the left hook. The thing with Haney too, you know, he's very good at making you have to wonder what shot he's throwing. His straight right comes at the same trajectory as his overhand right, and it comes at the same trajectory and original style of movement that the right hook comes from. So you're going to go over the overhand right, right hook, straight right. They all kind of look the same when he originally goes to throw them out, and I feel like that could give Lomachenko a little bit of trouble. But I do expect Lomachenko to adjust on the fly. Like I said, I expect his volume to give a lot of trouble to Haney the longer the fight goes. However, this is a very close fight. But in my final prediction, I'm going to go with Vasiliy Lomachenko to defeat Devin the Dream Haney, handing him his first loss in professional boxing via a unanimous decision. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I could see Lomachenko getting a finish in the later rounds 9, 10, 11, 12. However, I think it does go to decision. I think Haney will survive, but I am going to side with the underdog in Lomachenko to get the win. So give me Vasiliy Lomachenko to defeat Devin the Dream Haney, handing him his first loss in professional boxing via a unanimous decision.